Good afternoon in Switzerland and good evening in Shanghai. Welcome to our Café de Sciences lecture tonight. I'm really happy to see all of you here. And without further ado, I'd like to invite our CEO, Dr. Philipp Rösler, to give us the welcome speech. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hello, also Switzerland. Hello here in Shanghai. It's a great pleasure to have you with us today for today's Café de Sciences. My name is Philipp Rösler. I'm the new CEO at Swissnex in China. I'm literally almost fresh off the airplane. I landed in Beijing on the 3rd of August, and it's a great pleasure to be here. Now, Swissnex, sure you probably all know, let me still do the short pitch, is Switzerland's science consulate based in Shanghai. We empower partnerships and collaborations between Switzerland and China in the fields of science, education, research, and innovation. We are advocates for an active international engagement. We build cross-border communities, and we promote the continuous exchange of knowledge, ideas, and talent for the mutual benefit of scientific progress. Today's a special night for me and for you, I hope. This is the first time I can see this space filled with life. This is the first time I can engage with an audience in person. We are a small audience here today, but each and every one of you has looked into the eye of a pandemic. Each and every one of you has looked into the eye of a typhoon, and each and every one of you decided, nah, I'll go to Swissnex. So thank you very much for that. I hugely appreciate it. Let's make today count. And thank you also to our virtual audience. Thank you for being with us virtually. And let's hope that soon you can also join us here today. So today, as mentioned, is all about building communities. It's all about exchanging ideas. So without further ado, I very much look forward to today's discussion, to learning more about approaches towards design for social good. Thanks to our speakers here and in Zurich. And with this, I give back to Cici, Head of Art Science here in China. Cici, you are not only the mastermind, but also the master of ceremony of today's event. Thanks to you and to the whole team for the hard work. Back to you.
Thank you, Philip. Okay, now we'll step into our lecture today. So for some of our regular guests, you may already know this year we have a big theme on social innovation. And we've been talking about assistive technology. We've been talking about circular economy and sustainable mountains, forests. And today we are going to talk about social design. And we are going to talk about how do we define social design in nowadays, and what are the designers' role in the social change, and what has been done in the past few years, both in Switzerland and in China. So these are the questions we're going to explore with our speakers tonight. So we're going to have two speakers tonight, and they are Professor Michael Krohn from Zurich University of the Arts and Professor Miaosen Gong from Jiangnan University. And we will have a discussion and Q&A session after the two presentations. But for our online audience, if you already have questions during the presentation, you're free to type in your questions in the Q&A box, and we will select and answer the questions in the end. So the lecture today will be around 1 hour. The video recording and the slides will be shared afterwards by email. Now let's welcome our first speaker, Professor Michael Krohn. Michael holds a position as co-head of resource sustainability in the arts at the Zurich University of the Arts. It's a knowledge, education, and research center, covers various societal, economical, and ecological aspects of art and design. Furthermore, he is lecturing, researching, and publishing, especially in social design and sustainability. Now let's welcome Michael.
Okay, thank you, Cici. Can you hear me?
Yes, please turn on your camera.
Okay, My camera should be on.
Yeah, we can
Okay.
see you.
It's okay, so I share my screen. Hope this works.
Yes.
Okay. So thank you for the invitation, Swissnex Switzerland. Actually, we have a long-term relation with Swissnex as Zurich University of the Arts, but also with my next speaker, Miaosen Gong, which I share like nearly 20-year tradition of teaching, learning together, and you will see also some example of this long-term relationship. But let me jump directly in my presentation. We want to talk, or I want to talk today about design with social impact. That's what my topic is about. And as Sissy said, my perspective is from a University of Design and Arts, and especially about education and about research. So just short about me, Sissy already said, I'm the co-head of resource sustainability in the arts, but my background is in industrial design and sustainability. And I was former head of industrial design and master of arts in design here at the Zurich University of the Arts. So let's go into the topic. Actually, I want to show you a little bit why this is important, not only for us as an institution, but I think for the global community everywhere, for all societies. So when it comes to the distribution of design, we see that's quite unequal. So at the one side, we have a saturated customer market with a wide choice of objects for a very wealthy society. And on the other hand, we have like 3 billion people who live less than $2.50 per day. So showing this in a picture, I think this makes it very clear that 10% of our world global community lives on the left side, and the far more, 90% live on the right side. And I think as a designer, we have to think about that, if this is fair and if it's not fair, so what can we alter in this situation? So this is the approach from us as a university. But looking at our discipline, which is design, we see that the traditional design borders are really blurring. That means before, we have very constrained field of what we do, but looking today, we have multidisciplinary topics, we have global cultures, new business models, different problem settings, loss of traditional skills, emerging technologies, and also global shared knowledge. So this led the border of our discipline very much blurring, and we ask ourselves, so what does this mean for the education of young designers? So that means probably we have to face a new role for design. So before it was design of objects, information systems, or services. And now we think about how to design human relation, environments, social and cultural developments, as we see it as a big challenge for us all. So how do we come with our discipline from the left to the right side? And this means how can we transfer education and practice in the future to a new field? So today, our students and we ourselves design objects, media, information for an existing industry. But in the future, it will mean that we design system and processes, that we design social transformation, human relations, environments, intelligent use of resources, circular economies, alternative models of economy, and probably smart use of technology. So that's what we think about. And I want to show you something which is quite true, and it's also quite old. It's a a quote from Victor Papanik, who you might say he's some sort of a founder of social design. When he was asked what is design doing, he said, advertising design means persuading people to buy things they don't need with money they don't have in order to impress others who don't care. This is probably the phoniest field in existence today. And even a lot of students, also we as designers, have a lot of fun with being designers. We have really to consider what Papanik said, for whom we are actually working and with whom we are working. So that means probably that we have altered the roles for design as a discipline, but also for designers as a profile for future jobs. So this leads to social design. And design is often simply reduced to aesthetics, but design is much more. It can identify, create, and implement social development. And for this, we need design thinking and design methods that can open new scopes toward social aspects. This is something we didn't do before much yet. And I think the design discipline can contribute to knowledge, options, and solution. And design is also a hands-on discipline. That means we work really with the society and try to offer solutions and empowerment by so-called co-design. When we ask what can we deliver, then we mean that creativity can meet the society. So if we look what are the talents that our students and we as researchers have, then it's the ability to think about objects, relations, and situations. Not only limited to objects, it's also the way how we look at problems, and problem solving is quite unique and often it's very surprising. We can materialize innovations in a very applied way, and co-creation means we work closely together with the affected society, can means prototyping, and also include the experience of the stakeholders and different societies. I'd like to show you an example of that. What does this mean probably in the reality? So this is quite an old project. It meant the title was A Liter of Light. And it was simply the question, how do you bring light in sheds of very, very poor people in the southern part of the world, where you don't have electricity, where you don't have fuel or gas or anything else. And designers had to work on that, and they came up with a very, very smart and very, very cheap and elegant solution. That means you need just a liter of a PET bottle, you fill it with water, and you cut a hole in your roof, and with the sunlight, the PET bottle acts as a lamp. So this is what we mean, helping with solutions and also supporting a society who can neither afford this nor have the understanding to have access to very complicated installations. And around that, a lot of new upcoming companies, of institutions, and also of offerings from NGOs and other institutions that help to improve the people's life in different parts of the world started. For example, the so-called Index project, where they say, we collect designers who are able to improve the life of many others. So the idea is that a few who are thinking different about problems are able to help others which don't have either the money nor the access to such knowledge and such infrastructure. Another example is IDEO. Probably some of you know IDEO as one of the most important and famous companies who are working with design thinking and design innovation. They say whatever challenge your organization might face, You don't have to solve it alone. Let's talk about the work that can't wait and get started. And they working really close with societies. They try to improve the life of the people, making them feeling better by using design methods and creating empowerment for these societies. So with these two examples, we see that our discipline is really shifting away from producing material objects, also aesthetics, towards working with societies. And this means at the end for us as educators and researchers, shifting design education for the future. So we have our questioning ourselves, what might be the role of the education in design? What might be the role of design as a discipline in the future? And what might be the boundaries of design? As you see before, I talked about blurring the boundaries of design. I think what we did in the past is our history and tradition, but in the future, designers can come up with much more than just designing beautiful things and objects or even media or information. So this asks for a new distribution of roles and models. Still, as a university, we do a lot of research, analyze strategies, give better understanding of methods and tools. This goes into education. So in education, we like to work much more with so-called real-world problems. We offer intercultural exchange and theory and skills. And this leads at the end to the practice, where we can come up with solutions, implementations, and at the end, experience. So for this, we have to break the boundaries. We have to ask ourselves, actually, when we have a problem, who learns from whom, who collaborates with whom, and who is involved and where. So this is an interdisciplinary approach. We have to culturally understanding design. We have to question political and societal role of design and come up to an intercultural definition of design and offer participative and equal application of our solutions. That's what we mean with breaking our, let's say, traditional boundaries. And this gives a new framework for so-called social-oriented design. At one side, we have still cultures, behaviors, and habits. We have existing infrastructure, tools, and technologies. And there we add our knowledge, our creativity, and creations, but we always have to meet standards, regulations, and laws, which are in different societies existing. And it's like the rule how people live together. And I think this framework is like a new set of design education and design research as well, which we have to consider in our institutions. So this asks now, if we consider all that, what can actually design do? And this is a set of challenges for designer and education institutions when it comes to like doing design in the futures. Designers have to adjust their mindset to a more holistic approach. Only disciplinary thinking is out, and social developments shall be critically monitored. What means what happens in your society. Entrepreneurial thinking is a new metaphor for education. So what I'm doing with my education after I have graduated from a university. And our disciplinary field will broaden based on still traditional competences, but the field of knowledge and practice is much broader than before. So we have to face that at one side we have like the existing approach and application of creativity. So the industry established, stable, reliable, it's measurable, and we work for economy and industry. But on the other hand, we are inventing, and inventing means always to face uncertainty, unreliability, surprisingly, and unpredictable. So the transfer of knowledge means from an existing pathway to a new culture and society where design plays a new role in societies which are probably not so known to designers as before. And this means we focus on objects, systems, and processes, but even more on social development, human relations, new entrepreneurial business models, sustainable environments and the use of resources, alternative education formats, smart use of technology, and on creative learning environments. So this is like a focus we are also heading on here in Zurich in our design university. So we have to prepare for this shift. We have uncommon topics in unfamiliar regions, in new relations, in collaborative projects for a global perspective, at developing our own methods, ask the right questions at the end, expose ourselves. So this is something which is really a shift in our tradition and in our design education. And this prepares the upcoming generation of designers for, let's say, as you saw before, the 90% of the world. But this is something similar like this astronaut. You have to be really prepared. You have to have the right suit. You have the right competencies. You have tools, and you have to have a mindset which says, okay, what I'm facing is probably different than before. And we did this with this learning platform. I can show you afterwards some examples. This is the outcome of a research project. It means design with social impact. And it learned students how to deal in all these, let's say, unstable relations where you work rather with societies than with just objects. We did some projects. One of these is dealing with India and China, and my colleague Miaosen was a long time part of that. So these students worked really on societal problems and questions. And we did the same also with the students from Africa and from the southern part of Europe. And not really at the end, but nearly at the end, I want to show you a short video. Let me check, here it should be, which is some sort of an outcome of an international design summer school where designers worked on the topic of frugal design. And I hope that the sound works now.
Right now you count from 3 to 1 and then clap all together.
We clap. Sorry? 3, 2, 1.
It's the first time I came to Europe, and Switzerland is maybe the best country in Europe.
It's very beautiful city. I come here to meet some friends and yeah.
It's been quite interesting because it's also in a way giving me a window to understand the realities of Zurich and Switzerland.
And in the students there, when they are working, when I'm talking with them, I'm always inspired by them.
I find it really interesting that we can learn something from their daily life, and yeah, from China, from India, it's very really different.
It certainly opened up my view of frugal design, and really I'm hoping to expand my vocabulary through the projects that we do. I'm hoping to take back some words and ideas.
It's very useful for the designers, especially for the young designers, to go back to rethinking about where we start from and why we do things.
Being frugal is not something you produce. In a way, it's a way of living. You know, it's a different way to look at a situation.
What I find is important is not to have a long or short life, but a really intense life. And this week has been really intense.
In China, we don't do it like this. We do it different. Yeah. And in India, it's other way around. For example, to open the door. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, there are all like little things, and they help us to understand each other better.
So this short video clip was the result of an international design summer school where students from India and China worked together on the topic of frugal design. Now you might ask, what is frugal design? But frugal design, I think it's one of the design methods which you can apply, especially in regions where you don't have access to a lot of technologies or also a lot of finance. It might simply doing a lot with less. So frugal means using existing resources and an existing material. Now I want to show you just shortly about this. I hope you can see that. It's our like the result of a 4-year-long research project, Design with Social Impact. And this shows, or this is like a learning platform where we gathered competencies for young designers in 4 topics: mindsets and soft skills, communication and wording, relationship and roles, and collaboration and community. And each of this chapter shows, first of all, what we mean with communication and wording, for example, and why communication and wording is very important when it comes to social design. And then we have a set of very short video clips in a context where students can learn something about the existing design situation and apply, like in this case, it's their wording or their communication role. And it's important that the designers are aware of their role when they are in a social design situation, which is completely different than if you are designing with, let's say, an agency for a client. As I said before, unreliable situations in unfamiliar regions with not known problems. So this is how we want to prepare our
students. Right now you count from, right now.
Sorry. And I think this is what I want to tell you at the far end. It's really the question what or where we are going with the next generation of designers in our institutions. And we all know that we have a lot of sustainable issues in the next future. And I guess it's our task and our challenge, but also our duty to reshift or to reconsider the design education globally, so that all our knowledge, all our tradition is focused to a more and better living in all regions of our global planet and to take care about what we have. So this is what I want to tell you in this short presentation, and I hope you get some sort of insight what we as European School of Design very traditionally think about global design and global challenges for the next design education. So that was it. I stop now my screen and say thank you for your patience, and especially thank you for your interest in my topic.
Thank you, Michael, for sharing your insights on the new role of design and also the shift in the education system. And also your last comment and video shows us the great importance on the international exchanges and dialogue. So with this, I'd like to invite our second speaker, Professor Gong Miaosen from Jiangnan University. So he has made it from Wuxi, so he's here tonight with us. Professor Gong is a director of DESIS Lab and an associate professor at School of Design at Jiangnan University. His research interests are focused on strategic design for sustainability, design for social innovation, and culture tracing and creation. He will present the projects of Keyihui Social Design Lab, and it is a social enterprise incubated by DESIS Lab of Jiangnan University since 2012. The project will show how design could support the people with intellectual disabilities to have decent well-being. Now let's hear more from Professor Gong. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Dear Phillips, dear Michael, and dear CC and all guests. Good evening. I'm Miaosen Gong from Jiangnan University. I'm so happy to be here today. As many reasons. First of all, I have been here 15, maybe more than 15 years ago, several times. And today I come here again. So I feel a kind of familiar. Another reason is because I have had connection and cooperation closely with Michael since 20 years ago on the topic of the intercultural issues. And so today we are work together here, coming to open a dialogue for a specific topic on the design for social innovation with an intercultural perspective. So this is really precious to me, and forget the typhoon and forget the pandemic situation, just to make it happen to be here. So thank you. And today I'm going to present a concrete case of design for social innovation, what I led in Jiangnan University after what I learned in Europe. With the previous presentation by Michael, you have the, I think, more general idea about social innovation. So I would like to introduce this concrete case. But this is a very long story, so I will make it short. So the story starting of my PhD study in Politecnico di Milano with Professor Manzini, a leading scholar in the field of the design for sustainability since 30 years ago, maybe 40, I guess. Starting from the very beginning about the green product, green material, to the sustainable lifestyle, product surface system. And since 15 years ago, Professor Manzini shifted his focus to the social innovation towards sustainability. When I studied with him between the 2017 and 2010. Oh, this is a mistake. 2027 to the 2010. Okay, so during the years I studied with Manzini, he founded the International Association on the design for social innovation and sustainability, called DESIS. Now DESIS, we had more than 60 design labs all over the world in the leading design universities. At the meantime, we also found the DESIS China as a regional cluster in China, including 6 leading design universities in China to promote this topic in China. So after more than 10 years, what we have done, has a very positive achievement in this field. In the Jiangnan University, I led the DESIS lab and to involve this topic in the teaching, research, and practical projects. Among this project, we have every year we organize the DESIS symposium to exchange and promote this new topic. In the 2012, in the workshop of this DESIS symposium, a design proposal has been designed. What it was called Yi Gong Fa. The basic idea of this design proposal is to connect the IDP, the people with intellectual disabilities, to the families, to the designers, and the different actors, to try to help them to have a better quality and jobs. And that design proposal, that workshop was led by Professor Ezio Manzini, and he told us, why don't you have a try to do it? Not only a design proposal, but to make it happen. So we tried, and it was quite success. It was quite succeed and progress well. Afterward, we really registered as an independent social enterprise, led by my colleagues in 2014, called Keyihui Social Lab. This is a social enterprise. Sorry. This is social enterprise focused on the intellectual disability people to improve their wellness and the social inclusion with decent income. I don't know if you have some basic ideas of this group. At least before this project, I have no idea because there's no such a kind of people around me. But if you know, you will really, how can I say, pay attention, because they are the, how can I say, what Michael said, the bottom of the society. Usually the disability, it's a part of the functional problem of your physical body. But if you have the problem of your mental, that's a comprehensive weakness. It's absolutely dysfunctional problem. It's very difficult to, how can I say, to help them as a society. So once a family, if you are the normal family, if you have one kid, have such a problem, it's difficult to really recover to be normal life. So this is the social enterprise to focus to improve, support them. And after, in the last 10 years, around 10 years, this social enterprise has been one of the leading star social enterprise in Wuxi. We won a lot of the awards and the honors. At the beginning, the major idea of this design, this asset design for social innovation, the major idea is enabling solution and a collaborative service. As I said, as individuals, those people as individuals, they are absolutely weak. But what we want to investigate is to see whether there's some potential space if they can work together. Or if they can work together, not only between of them, but also with other actors, stakeholders, and designers. So try to develop this potentiality. To do so, we need to change the idea to regard those people with intellectual disabilities not only as a problem, but also as an asset, as a resource to empower them to be functional, valuable. In China, we have something. We have saying like teach a man to fish rather than feed a fish. So how to provide a sustainable solution for the people need help. Instead, meet the needs in short. So we have the kind of the wisdom, similar of the ideas. So the Keyihui as a social enterprise, they have the structured the performance and programs to work together with the IDPs, including the training courses and the workshops and the kind of the creative product and some social inclusion, so on and so forth. It was a long process. Just to give you some ideas of how we work with them, like some art performance, some planting activities, some tea making activity, some community-based workshop, and some exhibition to connect more with the society. Also involved some the kind of the marketing. And one of the most successful project in the Keyihui social enterprise that I would like to introduce is what we call IDP handmade soap. Of course, we are not talking about design soap. We are talking about design enabling solution that let the IDPs are able to involve the production, co-production of the high quality handmade soap happily involved, and to produce the high quality custom products can be sold in the market. Right? And finally, with the economic returning. Okay, so this is so the first challenge to do such a kind of the project. The first challenge is even the IDP are not the user of the hand soap, but they are our target. They are our purpose of the design project as a social innovation. So we need to understand well who they are and what the situation of them. Actually, this is very, very difficult to understand our target, to understand the people with intellectual disabilities. Why? When we talk about user research, talk about empathic design, is you are trying to be on the foot of your user, of the target. Because somehow you have something common, so you are able to think about something in place of your target. But actually, between you and the IDPs, it's very difficult to build this common, build this channel. I'll give you an example. If you are try to pretend blending people, it's easy to just with the glass. But you cannot disturb your mind temporarily. You cannot pretend to be IDP. This is the first challenge to do this project. And of course, it takes time to really understand more. So that's why I said it must be a long story. It couldn't be a short project. Okay. So after we understand better about our target, the major solution, the major design solution, it's enabling solution. It's the process of the hand soap making, and a series of the tool. We redesign the process of the handmade soap, and with the specific tools that can be adapted, fitting the abilities of IDPs. Okay, let's see. As you see, there's a co-production line, specially organized, redesigned to them, and they are able to involve one by one, step by step, with their particularly ability. Sometimes, you know, the different degree of the IDP, it's also different. So it's delicate redesigned solution, enabling solution to enable then involve this production. And if you see the situation, pay attention. They are pretty much concentrated. They're pretty much concentrated. If you to do that job, you will feel very boring because it's pretty simple, pretty repeat. But to the IDP, to those people, our target, they love to do it. They are very easy to be happy, actually, if you really design for them. So they are so concentrated. That means the result as the handmade soap as a result is ensured. The quality of them is ensured because they are really careful, really concentrated. And more important for that is the experiences of them are pretty high quality. That's another level of the quality of our product. So that's also connected to another design roles, how to communicate this quality. Because if you cannot communicate the quality, the price cannot increase. So it's important to be designer to feel the quality and to present quality. For example, this kind of design, we try to decrease the normal design element to symbolize the design appearance. This in order to enhance another level of the quality, another perspective of the quality. Okay, because the quality of them are also simple. The advantage, so some how to say, those people, they have the weakness, we know, but they, on the other hand, because of their weakness, they have the advantages. Is they are pretty much simple and sincere. They do not have the kind of the, how can I say, complex thinking and to try to pretend to be something else. Okay, they are so simple and so sincere, and it becomes important quality of those people, and it will be a part of the value of their product they involved. Okay, so this is what we call try to storytelling the quality. And of course, we need to find the really market, find a market for them, and with a decent price. So finally, the benefit can return to the IDPs. Okay, so this is what we have done in last year's quite successful example project. And another new one that we are preparing is what we call a co-creating platform of the original art between the IDPs and the designers. The basic idea for this one is to utilize the kind of original art, the painting of the IDPs. As I said, they are very simple and sincere. So somehow, what the painting they did, the painting they do, you cannot pretend. We as a normal people, we are not able to painting like they are painting because we cannot be simple usually. So that's something special, the quality that they had. So we try to take out this quality and plus the professional designer to transfer this quality to be business value can be used. Okay, so this is the kind of the design graphic element that designer deal with. Finally, it can be used for the other commercial project and to have the kind of the intellectual property to feed it. Let's see the short video so you can feel better about our target and their situation. Video to simulate the survey.
喂，您好，是可议会公益组织吗？哎，对，我们是原生艺术共创平台，邀请您加入我们。
原生之岛是精灵们的心灵岛屿，触发一座座孤屿与外界相连接，自然会欣喜不已。你可以通过给予登上原生之岛，在游历过程中感受每份独一无二的原生之美。这是一场无形的对话与交流，灵感的启迪、碰撞与共鸣，满意共创之趣，彼此携手，收获成就与感动。由原生之岛孕育的果实将与你一同分享，从中品味点滴温暖。其实每个人都可以登岛参观体验，与精灵们进行一次充满意义的连接。登岛入口已向你敞开，热心的你准备好去寻找你的精灵了吗？给予原生共创设计赋能，邀您共建原生之岛。
Okay, as you see, the project of the handmade soap, it's about the co-production between the IDP by the enabling solutions. Instead, this new design proposal of Keyihui, it's a co-creation between the IDPs and the designers and other actors. So it's really co-creation approach. Anyway, whatever which project, as Michael mentioned, design for social innovation, change the design pattern that also change the role of the users as the actors. Then it changes the role of designers in the project. Okay. The case of Keyihui is especially towards the IDP as a vulnerable groups. But of course, the design for social innovation or social design is not towards only the vulnerable group, but also everybody. Yeah. Because we also have many different kind of social problems. Okay. But I think the those vulnerable groups, such as IDP. They are the most important people, the groups need our help. So we cannot forget them when we say people-centered and common prosperity, now as a very new goal of our country. Okay. And actually, in our classics, it says, nature tends to cut down the surplus and supplement the deficiency. However, humans tend to cut down the deficiency and augment the surplus. So we need to understand our weakness well. So we need intent to promote design for social good. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Gong, for your very impressive presentation. I'm very impressed by what you have done in your lab. And now I'm sure there are some questions from the audience, and I'd like to go directly into the discussion session. And I'll invite Michael to turn on your camera so we can see you on the screen. So for our online audience, you can type in the Q&A box. Yeah, we will read out your questions to our speakers. And for our on-site audience, you can just raise your hand and I'll pass on the microphone to you.
Thank you very much. First of all, let me thank both speakers for very, very interesting, very, very particularly complimentary presentations. I have a whole range of questions, so I need to pick one. So I will go for a question to Professor Gong, if I may. I recently arrived in China. I'm impressed by how digitalization is a significantly more advanced in many ways as it is in Switzerland. If I don't have my phone with me, I might as well not go out, not only because of COVID, but because I can't pay, I can't call a taxi, I can't get on the subway, etc. With regards to IDS and design, sorry, IDP and design, what role does digitalization play? Does it make social design easier? Does it make it harder? I'm just wondering, what's the role of digitalization? Because what you showed us now was very much hands-on. It was very, very practical, but the digital is becoming more and more prominent in our life. What's your assessment? I'm curious.
Thank you for the question. I think, of course, the digital technologies, digital platform is important tools for everybody, but actually not so efficient for the IDPs, either for the elderlies, you know. But it can, as a part of the enabling solution, it's important. In the second point, in the first case, the project handmade soap, the digital platform provided the marketing channel, but not directly for the IDPs, but for the buyers. So in the second case, as a design proposal, that one is largely depend on the digital technologies because it's a platform, and that platform, it has to be digital to link, to make it possible the co-creation between the IDPs and the designers professions. That was so. In one word, it's digital technologies. It's not directly supported IDPs, but to support the other actors that to work together with IDPs. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? If not, I have a question to both of our speakers. So I'm wondering how can we evaluate the impact of design in social practices? So maybe Michael can go first.
Mm-hmm. I mean, one of the simplest measuring of impact is, let's say, how much has, let's say, the daily life of those who are affected by the, let's say, design measurements have been improved. I mean, the example from Miaosen shows very well. I guess these IDPs were all much more happy than before. They have something which really gives them pleasure, which is useful, and so on and so on. So you might say, what is like the range of improvement that a social design measurement gives to these affected people? And what is really important, at least for us, in the, let's say, in the normal relation, you have a client and you have a designer. So the designer works for the client pays the designer, and the designer delivers a solution. Social design is completely different because there is no client anymore. There are people, and people collaborate with the designer to come to a solution. So they are always part of something which has to be done. So there are so-called co-creators or co-designers. When we go to Africa and work with urban farmers, which are producing vegetables and fruits, and they have a problem, for example, very simple, how to fetch chickens in their farm. And they don't have the money to buy cages for the chickens. So our designers do with them a solution, how you build a cage with very minimal material, and they are part of that. So they are co-creating with that. And empowerment, also Miaosen said that empowerment is very, very important, that you are not relying on existing structures which keep you in a financial relation or a social relation where you have to buy from somebody something. So social design means also empower the people to do their solutions for themselves.
Thank you, Professor.
Continue to the Michael's idea. I would like to add 2 points. First of all, it's what we call the objective-based, goal-based evaluation. So when we do this project, we have the goals. So whether we have reached the goals. So as Michael mentioned, if those target IDPs, if they feel happy, if they improve their life quality, if they have better well-being, and we cannot have some kind of the quantitative evaluation, but we have the qualitative evaluation. For sure, they are improved a lot. I forgot to mention the background that today, anyway, in China, we have the basic care for those people. Every community, they have the service center for them. So the family, they do like with kids to send then the IDPs to the service center, and then they go to work. And after off the work, they take the IDPs back to home. So this is but it's a very basic welfare to support those families. So we cannot expect too much from the government. Okay, the budget is limited. But what design creatively, what we can do is to with less cost but better result. So from the goal. Another point is the social impact is about what we call sense making. So we have not only solved the problem of the IDPs, but also create a new culture, new design culture. As what we see today, the design for social innovation is a very hot topic. It's not a destination. It's that we made it happen. Lots of designers to try to do something different. Actually, Michael and I, 20 years ago, we have our research and our teaching doesn't really matter with social design. But we are the part of this movement to try to involve this new wave and to promote it, to create a new culture. So this is another, I think, aspect of the social impact.
Yeah, thank you. And I think you are creating a model, a system to others to replicate this model to benefit all those weak community, right? So yeah, any other, yes, sorry.
I'd like to know, how do you make the decision to teach the IDP to make soaps? Have you tried something before? How do you make the decision to teach the IDP to make soaps? Yeah. Have you tried something before? It just takes time. First of all, I said you need to understand their ability and their kind of limitation well. And actually, there are different levels of the IDP. So it must be delegated. And because our project, it was applied in a different community service center with a different group of the IDPs. So when we design for that service center and to another one, we need to translate a little bit, change a little bit. So first of all, you need to understand. And once your what we call enabling solution is good, and you need less training. If your solution is bad, you need a very hard training to make them to do it. Another one is actually this solution is not designed once. It has lots of the irritation. We update many times. So step by step, it try to match the user's profile and our enabling solution with a special process and tools and so on. It's not one day we teach them and they are okay. No, we takes long time to make it comfortable, smoothly. But once it's okay, it can last for many years, I think. We are according to the order of this handmade soap. We try to organize in different service center and try to benefit as much as target. Okay.
Are there any questions to our online speaker? Okay, so we'll take one last question for Michael because we're running out of time.
It's actually for both, but Michael can take the question. I would like to ask, how do you see the future of design for good, social design in a capitalist, profit-driven society? Because, I'll give a background for this question. I'm an environmental psychology consultant running my own social enterprise. And it's very interesting, and I love the quote that you gave. Advertising design is persuading people to buy things they don't need with money they don't have in order to impress others who don't care. Is probably the phoniest field in existence today. And it's surprising to see that it's a quote from 1971 and it's still so actual today. So how do you see the future of social design within today's context? Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you're right. And one of my first pictures I showed is this 10 and 90% diversion, which is really it's existing in our world. But looking at saturated societies as the Swiss one is one, or let's say more or less Europe and also North America. But even look at our societies. We have also some sort of diversion between people who live quite well here, but we have also unemployed people, we have poor people, even in Switzerland, we have a lot of social problems to solve. And if you ask me what is the, let's say, the role when it comes to also to social enterprises, I mean, I'm looking for the perspective of education. We as a University for Design, we educate the designers who are working mostly in design agencies, or let's say as author designers or whatever. And we shift now in the last years that our graduates are able to work, for example, for your enterprise. So this means a shift of understanding of problems, because if you design a car, this needs some sort of basic knowledge which every designer should have. But if you design for an NGO or for a social enterprise or for a certain social community, you have to, first of all, look at them and see the problems, and then you come up with a solution. And both types of design have some sort of common, let's say, knowledge or skills, but social design needs a completely different way how you look at the problem, because the problem is neither in form or in function or in production, it's about relation. So actually, a social designer designs the relation. And going back to your quote from the Viktor Papanek, I mean, the interesting thing would be, what can a designer do that this does not happen? That designers do not design for people who don't have the money to buy, and they just want to impress their neighborhood. So what is the role of the designer in this relation? And this is something we do here. And I think more and more, especially young designers, say to me, look, this is a typical first world problem. Design is a first world problem. We want to, let's say, save our planet, and the planet is not solved in this 10%. The problems are in this 90%. And we should persuade our students that they look at their profession in a little bit different. And we see that a lot of students are extremely open-minded to that. They are by themselves. They go into slums in Africa. They work in South America with NGOs. They work with organic farmers in Africa. And this is the real challenge today for a designer, I think, and not to make the 50th sunglasses for a sports company.
If it's okay, I would like to add a bit more. Somehow, actually, a designer, our role in this society is limited. So we cannot really answer everything and to do everything. So what you, the question what you propose, I think is mainly in the level of the political, even not only economic level. The design field, it's play a very limited role in that question, in that issues. And I understand it must be difficult and struggling, but let's keep the hope. And of course, as a designer and design teachers, we can do a lot in our scope, in our limitation. First, for sure, we can to increase the responsibility, the social responsibility of our students to kind of stay a kind of the seeds. To be a designer and to use design as a tool, actually we can do something good, but also something bad. But if you have the social responsibility in your head, you will do more for the good, less for the bad, or not only for the neutral. So this is our position, I think. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree that the designers have limited impact. So that's why we need a public platform to amplify the designer's voice. So with this, we are going to end our discussion today. And if you still have questions, you can write to us at artscience.china@swissnex.org. And for our on-site speakers and audience, you can stay a bit longer to enjoy our networking reception. Thank you. We're looking forward to see you again. Thank you.
Thank you. And bye-bye from Zurich. It was a pleasure to be with you. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you, Michael.
Bye-bye.